Mm, 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 mm. Tired. Hey, son, I have not called you. I've been tired. Magical girl, what's up? Dustin. Hey, Dustin, good morning. I am, after this, I'm going to sleep. Hey, King JC, what's up with my baby Quan? Good morning. Bismarck. Bismarck is in North Dakota too, right? My eyes look weird with the reflection of that trailer or the truck next to me. It looks like half my eye is red, the pupil, and the other half is brown. And there's a little white part in there, but there's a red truck to me and it's reflecting. That's kind of freaky looking. I don't know if y'all see it the same way I do, but it is weird. Mandisa, what's up, homie? Trucker Felicia, hello, hello. Okay, good. Well, hey, Dustin, make your money. You know how I feel. Get your dollars however you have to get them. Yeah, I'm getting ready. I've been up since about 11 yesterday, 11 a.m. yesterday. They had me do like a quick run out, but I had to go meet with the safety guy and all that other good stuff regarding the guy. Morning. Hey, African Violet. Rochelle, what's up? Good morning. Good morning. I ain't gonna be on here too long. I'm trying to decide whether I want to go pay for a shower because I'm at Pilot here in where I'm at Russellville, Arkansas. There's a Pilot and Flying J right across the street from each other. So I'm at Pilot. I had the personal convey over here. Hold on, let me make sure I'm off my personal conveyance. Yeah, I am. They are keeping him, to my knowledge, and we'll go into that in a minute because I'll go and since everything's happened, I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all what's going on since I've met with safety. So I'm not gonna get into all of it, but I'm gonna tell some of it. In our hey, get in, Mark. Good morning. So when the gentleman got on my truck, I thought at least the I think I was dealing with three distinct personalities. Okay, and y'all have to forgive my junk over here because I got junk in the chair. I was dealing with three distinct personalities when dealing with this individual. And the first person I met seemed to be a go getter, you know. He came on the truck, he was very forthright about his life, about he was excited that the company I'm with was giving him a second chance. He had dropped a trailer at Snyder and was terminated for that. They don't give him second chance, I guess, at Snyder. Had he been at like a Swift, I don't know about any other company, but Swift would have given him at least three chances. Usually, what they do is if you have a minor incident, they'll have you come in, do a backing course, talk to safety, and then you go back, drive, and then you get a second chance. Now, at the second chance, if you get a second chance, then I would say you probably need to start looking for another job if you don't have your shiznit together, depending on how close the two incidences are, because after the third incident is usually, I think, a third incident is a termination, or very close to termination. Well, anyway, he had the one incident. They termed him, and this company gave him a chance. He was a former felon. 9 years ago, from what he told me. When I met him twice. I had met him actually before I left and knew he was even going to be a student. We were on the van together, going to he was going to go fishing. He coming out of Walmart, and he's going to go fishing. They have at the company we're at. They have two ponds in front that they stock with I think catfish and bass, and it's catch and release. So it's just for sport. So he enjoys fishing a lot. His felony was due to drugs. So, and he was very forthright. His drugs of choice were cocaine and marijuana. So he said that was 9 years ago. He was 8 years older than me. He's 59. I'm 51. Um, there was another young lady in the class who's my age who was from Illinois. I don't know if JJ knows her, but she actually had an accident, so she's been working in the office under workman's comp. So she's able to work, but her treatments are there in Arkansas, Texarkana, and so she's doing like assisting the training. Well, she had also talked to me about him, and I mean both of our perceptions of him after I met him, he seemed to be on target. When you guys talk to Nikki, Nikki has a background also, and you see somebody like a Nikki who, and I'll answer questions. Y'all can put questions. I'll answer them here in a minute. Who's totally changed her life around. I mean, just absolutely positive. I cannot wait to do the interview. I think once you find out everything that baby's been through and how she has turned her life around, and I have family who have had prison time. I have some cousins who actually physically beat up a cop in Arizona, and they actually went to prison for some time. One of them has spent time, like my brother, in and out of prison. Got involved in selling and using drugs, and then several of them got out of prison and became flatbed drivers and totally turned their life around. I'm not going to say they're wealthy, but they're comfortable, and they live a decent life. They're not caught up in criminal activity anymore. And I went to trucking school with some people who were felons, and these were people who made a lot of mistakes in their early youth. Now, this gentleman obviously had an addiction of some sort. When I talked to him, he is from New York, or Rhode Island, New York. Um, and like I said, was perfectly gentleman. I did not feel like I was scared for, like, I know some people say, "Oh my God, I'd be scared to rape or whatever." I didn't get that sense from him. Um, yes, it can be magical, girl. You're absolutely right. It can be a revolving door. My brother has spent his life, my half brother. So my father, I'm his oldest child. The second one is my brother Norris. That's his oldest son, and that's the one who has spent his entire life in and out of prison. My brother has actually was actually on the national news as Texas Most Wanted, and they had him up for a whole bunch of stuff. Anyway, Norris has spent his entire life in and out of prison, and that is my father's oldest son. I think that's the only child he's really put the most money into. I don't know if it's out of guilt. I don't know what it is, but I know he still, even though he complains about he ain't got no money, he sends that boy money on his books almost on a regular basis, if not monthly. Um, I have no idea. Oh, you did a 6 year. Okay, all right. Yeah, Nikki's gonna talk about her stuff too, and 'cause she's very open about it, and I want you to hear her story. And when you hear her talk, or you guys are in chat with her sometimes when she's in here, and I actually ended up working. We didn't even know. She reached out to me through social media, and then when we were talking on the phone, I found out me and her cousin worked together for years. I know her cousin. The girl can blow, sang, and I think her cousin did some singing, background singing with Kirk Franklin. The girl can blow. I didn't even know it was her cousin. I mentioned the name. I mentioned where she worked, and she's like, "Oh my God, wait a minute." She said, "What's the last name?" And I told her last name, and come to find out, this is her cousin. So I was like, "Oh my God," you know, what a small world. Um, but Nikki has a story, and just totally turned her life around. I believe people make mistakes. I also believe that we don't know what causes people to go what direction they go. So when I met this young man, I don't call him young, even though I'm older. I mean, he's older than me. He seemed to be very forthright. He was very open. He told me coming up on the truck that he was going to have problem with driving stamina. He told me he was a newly diagnosed diabetic. He told me about the amount of metformin that he was on. I'm also on metformin, which I thought was a very low dosage, but I figured since he was newly diagnosed, maybe he was just entry level. And I'm considered borderline, even though because of where my A1Cs usually are. But I'm borderline is I'm over the. So it happens, if you guys don't know, when you should be getting checked, especially when you start hitting your 30s, and especially for African Americans and Latinos, because we're a higher group for diabetes. Doesn't matter whether you're fat or skinny. I mean, fat would make you a little more susceptible to it, obviously. But my father's not a fat man, but he is a diabetic because he doesn't manage his diet. But a lot of us, even my buddy Joe's diabetic, and it's usually because of our diet. So Latinos and blacks, we usually have a very high sugar content. For Latinos, a lot of it comes in the form of carbohydrates through like tortillas, corn tortillas, some of how we cook. And unfortunately, it's part of our culture and our history. So it's really how we cook and what we eat. Um, and then other can be obesity, like what I have, and then obviously how we eat and so forth. And somebody put something on there about a water diet that will help you get rid of it. I'd like more information, and I don't know if there's any books on that. I'm gonna go back and read your comments. I put a note on there to see if you knew of any other books. I'm quite interested in what you just said because I've listened to some radio shows back when my Sirius was on. I got to get my Sirius out of Phoenix. This truck doesn't have Sirius satellite radio ready, although it's this radio is hard anyway. Tin cans. But anyway, so um, anybody who has admin rights, handle that, please. Like I said, you always got to get a nut. Um, so y'all know what to do. Like Dustin or somebody, take care of Nutty Box. Key or JC, take care of it, or Jay. Um, thank you, thank you, JJ. Thank you, son. You always got to get a nut. Always got to get one. We can just block his happy behind. Um, so yeah, as you get the channel growing, I started seeing that happening to other YouTubers. I mean, if you don't want to, why are you even here? If you, it's like, I like people need to get a life. Like, why are you even here if this ain't something you want to be part of? It's like get going and move on with your life. If I don't want to watch something, I just don't go to the channel. You putting them in timeout? Go ahead, JC. J- go go ahead, my King JC. You got that, bro. Um, so and I'm not the greatest. I just like to get in here and chit chat with folks who might be like minded or might not disagree with me. I don't care. I mean, it's a forum for conversation. Shit, go get a life. Um, I was excited. I was like, okay, this is somebody. I'm thinking, okay, Lord, good. I can bless somebody. And he had driven before. He only had to do 100 hours on the truck, and he told me that his stamina was bad. So when we first went out, we left out of Texarkana, went across the street, got the trailer washed out, then headed out to a place called Broken Bow. We went there to do a Tyson load. They told us it was going to take a little bit. We got in the trailer, we dropped the trailer and went over just maybe 5 minutes up the street, got some Mexican food, came back. Now, when he first got in the truck, what I did notice is that he had some annihilators with him, like a little package of annihilators. And I know they sell them, and think in the break room there at the terminal. And he had put them in here. I have like a little cubby area. He put them in, and he was eating them as he was driving. Didn't think anything of it because I don't know the severity of his diabetes. I don't know, and I just didn't really think anything of it. For me, I don't eat sugar because I know sugar will have me straight. I eat it, but I don't eat it while I'm driving. But I know that sugar will have me straight out sleep, and I don't eat it all the time. I eat it very occasionally. Uh, turned around and excuse me, y'all. Oh, turned around and I'm going to bed after this live. Um, Turned around and we got there. He said we went and got our food. He went back. He said, I'm gonna go inside the lounge and eat. And I said, okay. And I sat in the truck and ate my burrito. About 40 minutes later, I hadn't even finished my burrito. Probably had about a quarter of it left. And about 40 minutes later, they came, knocked on the truck, told me that the load had been loaded. I backed up under the trailer, and then I sent him a text message, say, come on out. So he rolled up the land. Well, he had problems rolling up the landing gear. So I ended up rolling up the landing gear, and he ended up connecting the lines, one of the two. But before he came out, when he got ready to come out, before I even did all that, he looked like he was in a haze. It was like I was like, "Are you okay?" That was, I mean, it's it was like a different person. He was kind of zombied, foggy, and I figured, well, maybe he's tired. I mean, he just looked like he was in not in the building. And I said, are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good." I said, "Are you tired?" "I'm good, I'm good, I'm good." I'm like, "Okay." And then, "Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am." I'm like, "Okay." Very different person than this jovial person that had got on the truck. And so I said, "Are you okay to drive?" I'm looking at him. He said, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay." I said, "Okay, we're gonna hook up the landing gear and do this." But I could tell he was done. I mean, it was like he was not there. So I just kind of took note of it mentally, but I took it the fact that I was tired too. We had started our day out at 6 something in the morning. He had to come from the hotel, put his stuff on the truck. We waited for trailers, and we didn't leave out until later on, like about 4 p.m. So it's about 1600 in the evening. And then by the time we got through with the trailer washed out and got to the customer, They didn't get done with the load until, well, they told us they were going to start loading at 8. We didn't get to leave out of there until after 10. Okay. So I'm figuring, well, hell, we started the day at 6 in the morning, uh, just just going over truck rules and getting him acclimated to the truck. So he's just exhausted. I just presumed it was exhaustion. We get to, he's driving and I'm starting to doze a little bit as he's going. I'm sitting in the seat next to him and I hear the rumble strips. At that point, I'm like, okay, you need to be alert. And I was like, are you okay? Yeah, yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. Okay. I said, okay. And then we were getting closer to something called the Choctaw Travel Plaza, which is in Durant, Oklahoma. And when we got there, I just noticed the dude was done, and I told him, I said, we're going to shut it down in Durant. That was like the closest place to shut it down. And I said, we'll shut it down in Durant. That's a very good yard. We can find a spot to park. It's a little potholy, but we'll find something. I hadn't been there in years. So we finally got there. I talked to him the whole way to keep him in case I need to take over. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm like, okay, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I won't the room. I won't hit them. Sorry, I won't hit the rumble ship. I won't. I mean, just really different. So I just figured, brother's exhausted. We get to Durant. He goes inside the facility, goes to the bathroom or whatever, comes back out to the truck, and I told him, I said, you think you can do a pull through? Because I wasn't going to have him back because I figured he was done. He was wiped and his backing was off. Even at he's oversteering. He understands that when I say a person can back, what that means is they understand the concept of backing. But even though you can back, it might mean that you're oversteering. So you may have issues you need to work on to finesse your backing to get it where it's correct. I'm not going to say perfect because I don't believe anybody's a perfect backer. I believe people are good at it. So there are some people who can. Well, there might be a few perfect backers. I've seen some of these truckers. They come in, they put the truck in an angle and swoop it right in the hole. No, either no or one pull up. I mean, that's fine. Me, I do pull ups. I do like inch up, inch back, inch up, inch back until I get under the head of the truck, or get the truck, get underneath the trailer. So that's my little wiggle method or whatever you want to call it. I call it my inch up, inch back. Um, we left from Durant the next morning. Well, I went over across the street, ate breakfast. They have a shuttle that comes to get you, takes you over to the casino, and you can eat breakfast or whatever you're gonna do. I'm not a major gambler at all. Most I do is bingo, sitting there on the slot machines. I'm just not gonna do my thing. So I went to go get breakfast, and that's the video you guys saw. If you go back, you'll see me eating breakfast. I left out, went to the truck, and I got to the truck. He was gone by that time because I left him in the bunk sleep. I figured I'd give him a couple of hours where nobody was down in the bottom of bunk, and that way he could sleep really good. I went on and did everything I need to do, bathroom, eat, all that stuff, got me something cold to drink, got some ice, and got back in the truck. Hold on, y'all. Let's see what this is gonna say. Okay. All right. Hold on, y'all. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Um, Let me just make sure. It's telling me it has to be picked up by tomorrow, and I'm like, my hours will be back tonight. So I'll go pick it up after I gotta get a washout, and then I'm gonna go pick this up. Anyway, so we left Durant, Oklahoma, and we were headed to. We basically went from Texarkana to Broken Bow. Broken Bow was supposed to take us all the way to Amarillo, and then Amarillo to Lubbock for me to pick up my gear. Um, and I was only going to be in Lubbock for like a day, and then we were supposed to roll out, but unfortunately our load got canceled, so we ended up staying pretty much all the Fourth of July weekend. Not home time. It just was they canceled the load, or something happened with the load. Hell, I don't know. Anyway, um, we were gonna go from Durant. No, so we got from Broken Bow to Durant and Durant to Amarillo. So that run, all of that run should have netted him about 12 to 14 hours driving. Okay. He drove initially just from Texarkana to Broken Bow is an hour and a half, maybe, I mean, at the most, if you're going slower, 2 hours. And then from Durant to Broken Bow to Durant, that's maybe another couple of hours. Okay. So overall, he was only driving about a couple hours every day, 2 hours a day. When we got to Broken Bow, excuse me, Durant, and he left to go to Amarillo, we got about 70 miles outside of Wichita Falls, Texas. And he said, I have to go to the bathroom, and he was hungry. There was nothing in the vicinity other than a picnic area. So he went over and did what guys do, found a little private spot and did his business. He came back to the truck, and I had like a little thing of potato salad, like a half a tub of potato salad in the cooler, that I would usually gonna eat with like a love sandwich or whatever, but I get it at excuse me, Walmart. He said, "Can I have the potato salad?" I said, "Sure, sure, sure." So he scarfed down that whole little half tub of potato salad, and we left the rest area. From the rest area, which was about 50 miles, or the picnic area, when we found it, it was about 58 miles from Wichita Falls, from the Loves at Wichita Falls. He drove from that picnic area to that Love's, and he said, I need a nap. He was wiped. Done. Again, I will tell you what I didn't tell you was when he left Durant, he had went inside and he had more candy. Plus he had eaten the potato salad, okay? This point, I'm already pretty much, since I'm borderline and I know how sugar can affect you, I'm already presuming that he is crashing after his sugar fixes. And his something's up with his diabetes is not man he's not managing it. It's my presumption. I'm not a doctor. I'm not. Um, but the only thing I can presume is that he wasn't managing it. And he had to go take a nap. And I said, okay, go take your nap. And okay, I don't know what that is. I said, go ahead and take your nap, and I'll go ahead and drive. So I switched the logs, and I went on active, and I drove us into Amarillo. He woke up about maybe 45 minutes to an hour before we hit Amarillo. And at that point in time, he sat in a seat. We got there and we went and I ate at I went to the Big Texan, and then we went and got a shower, and then I had to drive the load uh into the customer because again, after he ate, he was wiped. He was wiped. And the carbs he had there, I don't know what he drank, but he also was drinking sugary drinks. He didn't drink any like diet drinks or anything like that. So I began to chat with him about stuff because I said, I want to just tell you a story. And I told him about a situation before I was diabetic where I had eaten a very heavy meal and it made me sleepy behind the wheel. And so I shared with him that story. And I just said, what we eat behind the wheel can impact our capability to drive it. So it can impact our driver stamina. If we know that we have health issues, that may mean, for example, we can't have sugar, then we can't have that sugar while we're behind the wheel. Now, what you do on your own, when you're not behind this wheel and you want to go back there and you want to have a cookie and you want to eat a bunch of carbohydrates, feel free. But when you're behind the wheel, that's not going to be something that's going to really work well because unfortunately you're going to get tired. And I said, I'm fat as a hog, but I also know, when I get behind the wheel, I eat like nuts. I eat almonds, I eat sunflower seeds. The sunflower seeds, I'm gonna have to get them more salt reduced because my legs start swelling because just edema and just you it's too much saline or salt. So, and I told him, I said I don't drink. Hey Nikki, what's up? I'm gonna be calling you in a little bit. I don't drink, you know, anything that's not sugar free because I'll be straight sleep. That's when you have active diabetes, that's what it does. It makes you when you don't manage it, it'll make you sleepy. There's other things it can do. It can give you the runs and diarrhea. My dad who goes through that. Um, it can make you have cramps in your legs and in your hands and in your arms. Um, Headaches, dry mouth, and he did a lot of ice, ate a lot of ice, and I'm figuring that's for the dry mouth for the non-management of the diabetes. So when we got to, he had to drive us into Lubbock. He got into Lubbock. He wanted to go fishing. We all went to go eat lunch. I treated him, my father, and me. And I told him, I said, we're only going to be here for a day. I'm just picking up. I just got notification. Oh, you just got the notification about the live? Yeah, well, I did one just to tell everybody, and then I don't know. Sometimes YouTube is slow. That's YouTube. I have no idea why they're slow. They're weird sometimes. But some people don't get it at all, and then they tell me they missed it. Okay. Yeah, I also try to do what I've been trying to do, Nikki, is do like a post, like a notification post, just to let you guys know, because I have people telling me all the time they sometimes they don't get the notification about the live till late. But I'm gonna be calling you anyway because I got more to tell you. I'm just kind of going over the story about the gentleman. So I went and handled my stuff because I needed to handle my stuff. I had my CB I needed to get. I needed to get some clothes. I didn't have all my bedding. I didn't have all my pillows. I don't sleep good when I'm sleep flat. So I had other stuff I need to take care of. So I did that first. And then what I did is I sat down and I wrote a notification to the company of some things that I had observed. Um, I wasn't mean at all, in my humble opinion. I wasn't mean. I told him basically I think he was a perfect gentleman. That I had never had any issues with him. He's a perfect gentleman on the truck. I liked the fact that he seemed to be very enthusiastic about doing the job. Um, I told him that he was excited that the company had given him a second chance. And I had one big concern that I was going to mention at the end of the documentation. I told him, he can back, but his backing needs some work because he's oversteering. Um, and I said, but other than that, he understands fully the concept of backing. His customer interactions were really good when he went in with the customer. Very wasn't a dick. Hate to say it, I didn't put it like that in the email, but you get some truck drivers that are just buttholes to even the shippers and stuff. Very, very. Hey Jennifer, very very good with the customer. Very, just really nice. Um, What else? I like the fact he wanted to figure things out. If he is struggling with his back, he wanted to figure it out. But that's one of my favorite things is that you figure it out. And then, but I do like to step in, and if you're taking too long, we can't be there all day because other truckers got a back. So I do want to come in and kind of give some advice and try to have you implement it. That he was not good at doing. If you tried to give him advice, he still was going to do it the way he was going to do it, which probably is some telling signs of some later behaviors. Um, his driving, to me, he was decent when he wasn't tired. Um, Good lane control, command of the vehicle right away. This vehicle still has a natural pull right, even though they did the alignment, and you can tell they did a better job with it, but it still has a pull to the right. Um, so I shared all that, and then I went through the concerns that I had. So I always tell the pluses first, and I tell the concerns. And then I got to the driver stamina part, and I did put in there that I had discussed with him the fact that that maybe what he's eating is making him tired, so he doesn't have driver stamina. What the company did at that point is I got a call from the head of training, and then I got a call. Well, I didn't get talk to safety. I talked to the head of training, and me and her went over everything. We talked about everything that I was seeing, and she decided she was going to talk to the safety person because it is a concern that this person is tired behind the wheel, because tired behind the wheel means that could be an accident if he falls asleep. Also, if his diabetes isn't managed and that's the issue, that can be a problem. So at this point, they went ahead and they reached out to him. Um, um, and I guess when they reached out to him, he got mad at me for talking about the sugar issue and that he was eating sugar while driving. And that's where everything went really south. And I call it the other two personalities showed up to the table. Um, one was One, he was angry. And so he started doing what I call verbal jabs. And what verbal jabs are, if you guys don't know what that is, that's when people start saying stuff in order to get you into a verbal argument with them. I grew up under a mother like that, so I know exactly how to handle that when it happens. That's why I said it's chess moves opposed to checkers. A lot of us, you have someone going that route and you know that's not the route to go, you're going to usually have the upper hand in the situation because you're going to calmly think on how to best handle it. At this point, I listened to what he had to say and I just kind of turned it around. I said, look, they have the right to contact me and ask me your status. And I put it back on them because they kind of hung me out there when they went to him and kind of mentioned the sugar thing. There would have been another way I think could have been handled, but it's just what's done is done. I said, you're only driving 2 hours a day and then you need a nap. That's disconcerting for someone with previous driving history for over 3 months and you can't stay awake for 8 to 10 hours. And there's got to be some kind of reason or logic behind it. So, hey, Micheline, so do I tell the company that you're lazy? Because I don't think that's it. Smooth Trucking, good morning. I said, I don't think that's it. I said, as I discussed with you, I'm also borderline diabetic. I'm fat as a hog. I said, my father, you've met him, he's a diabetic. And he doesn't manage his diabetes. So what he does is he sits in a chair and sleeps all day because he eats sugar and all the other stuff he doesn't want to eat, and all the stuff he's not supposed to eat. And so he goes to the toilet. Has also had some accidents on himself because he wants to eat cookies and all that other stuff. And unfortunately, he's now down to incontinence because he won't manage his diabetes. There are repercussions for this. B. Griffith, good morning. So at this point, he's pissed. Okay, he's pissed, and I'm like, okay. At this point, I let them know. I said, look, this guy's mad. I don't know if this is gonna last because it should have been handled differently. So I guess it took him all day to think of a way to get back at me. Hey, Liz, good morning. Way to get back at me. So he first started with a statement of, "Are you this controlling?" What did he say? "Are you this controlling in all areas of your life or just trucking?" Hey, Medusa, good morning. And then I told him, I said, "Well, my personal life is off limits." I said, "But what are you trying to ask me?" Okay. And again, calm because I already realized what this is. He's trying to get back because he's pissed off because I had to report this to the company. He's like, "Well," well, he says you're like really controlling in the truck. And I said, "Well, I guess what you see is controlling, I see as methodical." I said, "I have 6 years accidents incidents free for a reason. I have a methodology by which I run this truck, I drive this truck, I pre-trip this truck." I said, "And when I train based on that methodology." I said, "Now, when you came on this truck, before you even got on here, we had a phone conversation. And I told you I'm not an easy trainer. Not so much easy in this." I said, and when I mean not easy, I'm not the trainer that's going to get out here and just put you in the front seat and say, drive, go into the bunk and go to sleep and let you do whatever you want. And then I get up and do all the backing. I said, I'm not. I said, instead, if we ever got to a bunk stage where it's team status, I said, what I would do is you would run this truck as your own, um, to an extent. I said, and that way you could see. I said, but I have a methodology by which I run it. So he goes, well, do you not trust me driving? And I said, I've only seen you drive for 6 hours, and that's 2 hours each day. We don't been on the truck for 3 days, driving. I said, you only did 2 hours a day. He had a total of 6 hours. I said, you've only averaged approximately 6 hours a day, or 6 hours overall in 3 days. I said, with a load that was available to you that was anywhere from 12 to 14 hours of drive time, I don't know you. So how am I going to assess whether I trust you driving? And I said, let's put the shoes on the other feet. I said, so if you were the trainer, I'm asking you, I'm not the effing trainer. I'm just started being nasty. So I was set back and I just looked at him like, okay. And I'm calm the whole time, calm. Anywho, he proceeds to then tell me that he would trust somebody because they have a CDL. And I said, well, that's interesting. I said, because I don't trust somebody just because they have a CDL. There are plenty of people out here with CDLs that should not have them. I said, maybe like the kid who ran over those four people up in Colorado. Hey, Michelle, good morning. Maybe like that individual. Um, that person should not have a CDL, or the person with the phone up to the ear, or the person riding on the bumper of the other trucker. That's a little disconcerting when you have that kind of person as what's the word I want to use? Trying to think. As a driver with a CDL, and I'm supposed to trust them. And I told him, I said, there's a video that we were shown when I was at Swift, and I said, in other companies, and it shows a student going over a mountain with his trainer in the bunk. They're both dead. I just want to let you know that took place on Donner. I said, my understanding, and I don't know, there's a couple different stories behind that, but they say it was possibly a road rage issue with the student. So if I don't know you, I don't know whether you might trip, dip, flip, and skip, get pissed off at somebody, start driving crazy, not realizing what you're driving, and then turn this truck over. And next thing I know, I'm talking to Jesus, and so are you. Hold on, yeah, my phone is beeping. Um, Hold on. Everybody and their mama. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Hold on, y'all. Responding to the Nikki. Um, so at this point, um, he started becoming very verbal abuses as if to, like I said, start an argument, a fight. Um, I'm not gonna fight with you. I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm too old for that. And then on top of that, I don't know. It was almost her tried to intimidate, which later I found out is a tactic he used even with his other trainer at Schneider. Um, he was very verbal, the cussing, and it was like a whole nother person. It was like I'm dealing with three different people. I dealt with the cordial, articulate gentleman in the beginning who was trying to go get her and a go getter and you know seemed like he wanted to, and then I dealt with the hazy, I don't know where I'm at person. Hey thieves, what's up? Um, I dealt with that person, and now I'm dealing with somebody talking to me crazy like I'm just a piece of shit. And then he goes, what did he say to me? He goes, well, if you're as passionate about trucking as you were about your weight, he said, you need to be as passionate about trucking as you are about your weight. Because if you don't get that fucking weight off, you won't be driving no fucking truck. You'll be pushing up some damn daisies. So I wanted to address a little bit because I did mention the pushing up daisies. And what does that mean? We all know pushing up daisy means death. So now are you threatening me? Now somebody says, well, how would you see that as threatening? So let me explain something. When people do things, sometimes they'll say and do things in a roundabout way in order to make a direct point. So I call it reading between the lines. I don't know if that's what he was doing or if he's just being a dick and trying to start a fight. I believe it could have been a little of both. Regardless, the way that he was talking to me was improper, incorrect, and I wasn't doing the same to him. I wasn't trying to be detrimental to him. I wasn't trying to be mean. I came to him first with his issue. He continued down the path with eating the candy and the sugars and couldn't drive for, more than 2 hours. So I have to let the company know. I have to let the company know for a couple of reasons. Bigger reason to me is not so much to get him termed, but the bigger reason is so that he can have a sit down conversation, hopefully get his shiznit straight. If he needs to go to a doctor and get some adjustment, get that done, and so that he can be safe out here with the motoring public. When you train, and I know some people think I'm an asshole when I train. I got that back when I was training other people, and I made some jokes about the types of students I had when I was with Swift. Um, Liz, I did do a recording on my cell phone. Yes, I did, and I was able to email it to the company. I actually talked to safety about that recording yesterday. Jennifer, how you doing? Um, I because the behavior was so bizarre at the end of the night, I actually didn't even sleep in the bunk. I sat in the front because I didn't know. Again, I now have your history. You're a felon. You're 6'2" male on this truck. I'm not. I can't beat his ass. Now, if I had my shit from home, it would have been a whole different situation. But I have to handle this in a certain way. I immediately, based on the conversation the night that he did it, immediately did a message to everybody, and then I also uploaded the recording to the head of to my driver manager as well as the head of student coordination, and then I had a direct phone call first thing in the morning from safety, and I slept in the passenger chair. He thought I just told myself my back is bothering me. I'm gonna sit here. He went and crawled in the bunk. What I was really doing was being to where I could get to that door if this dude decided to flip anymore. Because I didn't know. Sometimes you got people who are just trying to intimidate, which is what I thought he was really doing. And based on further conversation, that is his technique because he did the same thing with another trainer he had at Schneider the last day on the truck. He said some things that said, "Ah, that's your pattern." So he's like my mother. He's a bully. And if you bite the hook, then they may become physically violent if you don't know how to handle them. So I handled him just like my mother. And that he became frustrated because the first part was about am I as controlling in my trucking life. Then he stopped and didn't say anything for They said hard left with the passenger door. These your fool. I'm not really that much of a punk, so but I am smart enough to know we were at a place where it was public. I sat with the doors and the windows, so I knew I could get out the truck if necessary. All the windows were open. The back here was closed. It wasn't covered up with anything, and I slept right there in that door. And I got the call because we didn't stop till about 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. He says he dropped the trailer, and I'm sure that that might have been verified with the company we now work for, because they can see what they see on your DAC, what's going on. Um, I believe he's more of an intimidator, but I do believe he possibly could get violent if I had bitten the hook. And because I didn't bite the hook, he then came back with the whole pushing up daisies and weight situation. He was trying to come at me any way he could to try to get me to get him no no to get you to fight. My mother's the same way. That's why I warn people I come from assholes. So I've learned to me that's and I hate to say this, y'all forgive me. It's nigga checkers. That's what it is. It's nigga mess, nigga checkers to get in there and let's try to start fighting. Okay. That's some nigga checker stuff. It just really is. I have learned what I call chess moves. And chess moves mean, you know, there's a book called Sun Tzu, The Art of War. If y'all, and I'm need actually, I decided I'm gonna get another copy of it and read it. And it's a business based book that talks about warfare. It was written by an Asian general. I forgot who it is. Sun Tzu. It was written by Sun Tzu. And so it talks about warfare. It talks about if your enemy is stronger than you, what position you should take. And there are times when you have to step back and let the enemy think they're in the winning position. And that's what I did. I let him you're in the winning position. You think you're manly. You're cussing me out. You're telling me shit. You're talking about me like I'm shit. You're talking to me like I'm shit. And you're doing things that aren't good. Okay. I put the phone on record. He said a lot more. He even said some stuff about folks in the company in a very derogatory way that wasn't good. Plus, he said the pushing up daisy things. I got him to say that again, and the way he was talking, it was bad. With Sun Tzu, the Art of War, sometimes you need to let people do that. It's called, and we usually use it saying let somebody hang their own self. Okay, and so he put his rope out, not knowing he's sitting next to a chess player and he's playing nigga checkers. I hate to say it like that. That's the only way I can put it. You sitting up here talking to people crazy, cussing like you're the big man on the block. This is your livelihood that you supposedly are interested in, this career that you want to get into. And you up here talking crazy as hell to somebody who's trying to help you. Because, like my father, Grumpy, you want to do it your way, but you want to get behind. this wheel and drive your way. So you want to go ahead and eat sugar and shit and put the motoring public at risk. If you don't care about your life, that's fine. Go to your house to do that. Go to your house, eat all the sugar, hook a freaking drip bag of sugar up to your veins, and get your leg chopped off, go blind, do all the shit that you want to do to kill yourself. And like I told him, I said, well, it's interesting you should mention my weight. I said, one of the reasons I'm going back to Arizona is I'm in the process of working with my doctor for weight loss surgery, but I don't owe you that. I did it very calmly. I said, I don't owe you that. I said, but because you think you know, here you go. Now, but I really appreciate your concern about my weight. I didn't give him what he wanted to what fuck you mother, and that's what he wanted. He wanted talk about my weight. That's what he wanted. I didn't give him that. Instead, I came calm, I came intelligent, and he didn't know what to do. That's why he had to wait so long for his responses because he was sitting up here thinking of shit to say to me to be mean. The next morning after I talked to safety, he didn't know I was on the phone with safety. I stepped out of the truck, talked to safety. They were like, well, I'm going to have to call him. I said, well, if you call him based on the behavior I had last night, I want the authorities here. And all his stuff and him have to go off the truck. There will be no riding back to the terminal. And he goes, do you think you can get him back here to the terminal? I said, I let him drive last night. And he goes, do you feel comfortable driving? I said, let me explain to you this. An idle mind is a devil's workshop, is what was in my head. And I said, I believe that if we keep him busy behind the wheel, he might say some crazy shit, but he won't do anything because he basically told me he didn't want to die, which is why he ended up supposedly stopping using drugs, even though he doesn't realize that his non management of his diabetes is still going to do the same thing. These, you in Tucson? Yeah, Tucson is straight desert, dog. We'll talk about it in a minute. It's straight desert, but I would rather be in Tucson than Arkansas because it's hot as hell with the humidity. But because Tucson should be just be dry heat. Anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. But these, yeah, that's Tucson. Oh, well, I have some restaurants you could go to, but I don't. You'd have to. You probably have. I don't know how where you're at in Tucson if you're parking there or not. And they have like one of the oldest Mexican restaurants there. They have a great, huge ass burrito. Anyway, we won't go there. See, food. See, I gotta get it off. Um, this young man, actually part of my heart goes out to him. Oracle Drive, yes sir, yes sir. I used to go there every summer. My aunt was a school teacher out there, and my mother's sister, and I used to go there every summer. And Oracle Drive, yep, not too far from there. Um, this young man, part of my heart goes out to him because I realize that maybe some of the prison life is still stuck on him. And after I talked to I talked to the head of safety, and then I talked to, I think, the gentleman that's under him. We met face to face yesterday, which was a very good conversation. I appreciated everything he did. I was very impressed. And JJ, I'm gonna say this: I'm impressed with how they handle things at this company. JJ referred me here. Um, and I'll be sticking with them probably 6 months to a year. I'm gonna continue to do the training. I'm actually more inspired now. Because I feel backed a little more. Um, I like the fact how they handled it, even though they're keeping him. It's not necessarily that they need to fire him, but he needs to have a wake up call, and they need to watch him. Um, I do believe, to me, the only other thing I would have suggested, I think, and I don't know if they did because I don't know the personal conversation that took fully between him, safety, and student services. But and I saw Stacy yesterday, by the way. Um, but when I know that the gentleman I talked to, he actually he listened. He wanted to hear both sides of the story. He said he had not heard the tape, but he knew there was, or the recording, but he knew there was a recording. The guy, the dude that was on my truck, had no clue I recorded anything. And so when he got in there and he started questioning him, he's like, "Hey, what? Why would you think that this woman who was trying to help you all of a sudden requested you off truck?" "Oh no, I don't know. I don't know." Head down, he said. And so he then told him, he's like, "Well, let's go listen to this recording because you telling me everything was good. Y'all was exchanging recipes." I like the way he did that. Basically, everything was copacetic, and this woman just out the clear blue just decided she wants you off her truck. So then he admitted about talking to me crazy or in a roundabout way. I don't know if they ever got to listen to the tape, but some of what he told me about his diabetes wasn't true. His diabetes, he's been a diabetic a lot longer than what he told me. He told me that he was a brand new diabetic. He wasn't. He's been a diabetic for quite some time. And that's the stuff we need. African Violet, thank you. All is well. Yes, ma'am, all is well. God watches over me, and that's what I've come to the conclusion that that's what I need to trust. Out here on this road, there are so many things that have transpired, even in the natural elements of things, just the weather. And if like it's like a tornado, I'm not there, or I'm on my way out of a situation. If it's an earthquake, something's delayed me going into a situation. Like the load that we were going to get for the 4th of July, we were supposed to be going to California where all those earthquakes were happening. We are supposed to be heading into California. All that got canceled off of us. And I can tell you numerous events. And I told him, I said, this is how it works for me. God watches out for me. I'm not saying that I would never ever, but for the most part, out here in trucking is where I see the hand of God over my life all the time. And I'm not perfect. I gotta start working on my cussing. I really do. Um, but after talking to the guy and he told me we are gonna keep him, I didn't really feel bad because at first I felt bad because the first part of this individual, I really saw the hope and I saw a possible change for him. These other two individual parts, it's like hell with him, fire his butt. But all of us are broken in some way, and I know that sounds very merciful. He didn't get to where he was by accident. We're all broken in some way. And hey, CTC, right? And V Griffith, that was the problem. That is exactly what the safety guy identified. Well, and my father picked it up too. My father said he's still stuck in prison mentality. Um, yeah, and so we're all broken. I don't know to what degree. I know prison life is not easy, and I know that some people can take some of that with them, and to shed that. That was where he was like, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm sorry. I won't do it anymore. I won't do it." That was that prison part. So that was that person, and the person that was Mr. Intimidating, because in prison you can't show weakness. Like my brother called my dad one time, was talking to me crazy on the phone, like, "Put my daddy on the phone." Ninja, who the hell you talking to? Shannon? Yeah, you talking to Shannon. I'll come through this freaking phone and kick you in your damn neck. I was seeing daddy was there. Because in prison he has to come off as this big tough man, otherwise they'll bend him over and he'll be a girl up in there. So, and I'm just being real, so I understand that it's a mentality, and that is possibly a defense mechanism that this young man learned. My prayer for him is that he is on a path, I think, to do better. But like my father, you have to want to really, he's traded one addiction for drugs to sugar, and now you've got to say, I've got to change it. It's my eating could be considered addiction. When I'm stressed out, my happy place is put me in front of some food and a cocktail. And if I can't have a cocktail, at least some damn sushi. And if I have some friends who enjoy it with me, even the better. But I can do it by my damn self. So, part of me understood that, and when I listened and I talked with the safety guy, which I really enjoyed talking to the safety guy. JJ, I'll tell you his name behind the scenes because I just enjoyed him. I won't mention his name on here, but I enjoyed talking to him. A very intelligent brother there at the company. And I liked the fact that he listened to both sides. He laid back like this, and I thought he was trying to sleep, but he was listening. He was calculating, and then he stopped me in the middle of the story, and he had already laid it out. And I knew. I'm thinking to myself, they can't think I'm lying. I'd give your ass a recording. There is no way in hell, based on the recording I gave you, that you would think that I'm pulling this crap out my behind, because it was a pretty aggressive recording that he did. And he said what he asked him, he said, what do you think would make this woman feel like she need to put her phone down, record you, and making these statements? He said, and that tells me, which was really smart, because what I got was bad, but what he said prior to me starting the recording was worse. And this guy figured that out. He said something had to motivate her. And what I also liked that the safety guy told him, he says, women, and this is something that I really was impressed with. Um, in conjunction with this company and with this man and the man who asked me, because two different men who asked me, and it was a safety guy who actually asked me to exactly V Griffith. He does need counseling. It was it was a safety guy who asked me to be a trainer without me. I didn't apply. They asked me. They said they need women trainers. You know your shit. He picked up some things and boom, 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 right out of training. Um, uh, Danielle hopefully will be coming, and I think Danielle will be a great. She's got 18 years experience. She grew up in a trucking family. She trained over 50 drivers for Swift. I think she would be a great asset to help here. It is more of us. It is a lot more of minorities there, Latinos, African Americans, people from other countries. We had somebody from Cairo, Egypt, coming in here, who need assistance. And I'm not knocking anybody who's Anglo. I'm not, because what I do like is that is a certain class of people that are coming into this company, and so you got a lot of people who may not, and that's trucking in general. Most people that come in don't have a lot. You come in. Some people come like from corporate backgrounds like me, but when I came in, I was broke. I had been laid off. I was broke as a joke. I was living on unemployment. I was broke as a joke. So ain't no line. I had to get rid of a house. I had to lose. I lost one house. I was able to sell the others. Some of them I didn't make no damn money off. I mean, I'm just telling truth. So when I say I done been through, I done been through. Don't think that, hey, you can be 80,000 a year and then you can be broke tomorrow. Life happens. Life happens, and when it happens, if it happens, it ain't good. It ain't good. Thank God for the 401k, which helped me, pretty much survive. I wasn't sleeping on no street. I was, either stay with a friend or rented a room or whatever. But I was broke. When I say broke, broke by my standards is I didn't have what I had before. I couldn't have rented an apartment based on what I was bringing in. Thank God I had some friends that were willing to rent out a room or whatever. So one of them, she let me stay for free. As I was renting a room from one friend, she started tripping, dipping, and skipping, and I just keep it real. Hey, Kevin, I just keep it real. I'm not sitting here telling you something I haven't been through, and I know some of y'all who've talked to me have been through that and then some. Some people have been homeless and have lived in their cars. Or I get it. I get it, and that's why I said part of me had to step back. And when I talked to the safety guy yesterday, my heart just kind of said, "Okay, Lord, it's in your hands." And all I'm gonna do is pray for this brother, because at the end of the day, I have family members who are felons. I have a friend of mine on here that has become a friend, who is a former felon and has totally turned their life around. I went to trucking school with felons, and a lot of them, when I talked to the guys, they were cool. They were gentlemen to me. Some of them I still talk to me today. I still keep in touch with two brothers, and one of the brothers, I think he had DUI and had a felony because of it. Not exactly sure of all what took place, but really good-hearted people who they made mistakes. You got hooked up into some shit you shouldn't have got hooked up in. And what I can say is, prayerfully, if this man is telling the truth, he only served his one stint 9 years ago. Okay. I'm hoping that it's diabetes and not something else. I'm hoping he's not relapsing into drugs. I don't know. Obviously, the safety department would not be able to tell me that. He did know that when I was mentioning was him crashing in either a sugar crash or some other type of crash. I'm gonna say I don't want him to be drugs. I'm hoping it's diabetes, because at least he's not back on his drug issue. Because the diabetes is something you just got to wrap your head around and get your under. That's why somebody put some information on here. I'm gonna go back and read that, because it's something I'm gonna try. Because it's no joke. It's hard. You get up pissing all night. I pee periodically. Well, I'm on a water back blood pressure medicine too. But I also know if I do any carbs, I'm peeing. I'm gonna be peeing. If I eat something sweet, I may end up with the runs, because diabetes is your system is trying to get that sugar that it doesn't, it's already doing too much for sugar, so it's trying to get it off out of the system. Um, right now I had some nuts. I had nuts last night, and I drink tea. I drink tea and water. Those are my two big ones. I try to do the sugar-free tea for the most part, is what I like to do. I don't get sweet tea. Sweet tea, I have peeing everywhere. I do like lemonade on occasion, but I finally got those meals that do the lemonade, and the meal is 0 calories, so 0 sugars. Um, it's like the supplemental stuff. But yeah, so that's kind of what took place, and like I said, I didn't want to be an asshole, but I have to be when you train people, you have to be cognizant that who you're training is people. Um, I am really thinking about a bibliophile. We're going to be talking about that. Although I like fish, I would probably be able to do. I could get rid of probably red meat, and I could get rid of chicken. And I'm not a big pork person anyway. Well, with the exception I do, and I know I shouldn't. I love chitlins. That once a year, but I could probably get rid of all of that. But when it comes to fish, like I like grilled fish, I like sushi. I'm an Asian. I like Asian dishes. I realize Asian food is like my top favorite, and sushi is my number one favorite. So that would be the only area where I couldn't the fish part. So I don't know what you call that, but I do know that's a type. You can be like a type of vegetarian. I think who does I think fish. So I might do that. But it's my heart goes out to him. My heart, my heart goes out to him, and I'm gonna pray for him. I'm gonna pray that God will wake him up. He fishes as he said that he says that tug is my drug. So he goes and fishes because that gives him, at least from what he was telling me, the peace that he needs, and it helped replace his drug usage. His he calls her his wife, I guess the lady he's with. I think that's another factor as well for him. So prayerfully, he's not. Monty just thinks he's lazy. I don't know if that's the case. I really thought that he's just stuck like a lot of people. He's 59 years old. He's at that male point. I want to do things I want to do. I've already given up drugs, so this I like sugar. And he told me, yes, I'm a sugar fiend. The last day on my truck, though, what he did do, part of the intimidation factor, he told me about his other trainer and how his other trainer used to tell him to stay in the lane because he's weaving. He's like, I just noticed other drivers weaving. They probably been driving for a long time. Da 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 da. Look there, that's a Walmart driver. He's weaving in the lane. And I said, well, yeah, he is. And I said, he's probably distracted. He's either on his cell phone or he's doing something he's probably not supposed to do because we aren't supposed to not keep the truck in the lane. It could be dangerous for someone next to us. He's like, well, my trainer, he did that. And he was always bugging me about it. So I told him, motherfucker, that was that. And I was like, and I'm sitting back listening because that's his intimidation to get his way. Okay. And he's like, then the old man would be going, okay, 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 you're right, okay. And so I was like, oh, that's because you intimidated him. And you had a little old, I said, so an older white man, maybe? Yeah, yeah. I said, oh, okay. And I just to stay calm. The whole time he doesn't even know I'm in full communication with the company. He didn't know I had talked to safety. He didn't know I had sent the recording. He didn't know any of those. Those are all chess moves. That's chess moves. Um, oh, pescatarian. Thank you. That's the one. I like seafood. Um, so he had no clue. Um, so I did bring that up to them too because I told them if you're going to put him with another trainer, it needs to be a very strong male person, somebody who will snap his chain back. And right now in this truck, I mean, like I said, if I was at home and if I could carry on this truck what I needed to, then it probably would have been a different situation. Might have been a little dangerous, but it's not about no. He would know I'm not about no BS. So it wasn't. I obviously am concerned because I don't know if he's going to go left to the point of some physical, and I'm obviously not going to be able to defend myself against a 6'2" male. I mean, I always tell people, women sit up here. I don't try to jump big and bad. I already know. You know that's Sun Tzu the Art of War. If you know your enemy is stronger than you, then sometimes you have to take the lesser role, which I went ahead and let him think. But in the background, strategically, while you let the enemy sometimes think they're in the stronger position, you're maneuvering to put yourself in the better position and in the winning position. Sun Tzu the Art of War. Great book. I need to get it again and read it. Um, so that's kind of what happened with him. So I want to address that. And then the other part I want to address is somebody had brought up on, I think it was Edie, and she had said she didn't feel that I had the right to tell the young lady about her cell phone usage on the truck. So I am going to counteract that. And I know Edie. um, you can't show this face. It's hard, but it's only usually temporary. So I mean, I could take a student and then have 30 days off or a few weeks off and then take another student. Um, but I'm going to counteract Edie on this because when I talked to the head of student services yesterday, I'm going to give you some DOT things. And Trucker Bill also has shared this to me. If you get in an accident in this truck, one of the first things they now ask for, besides your logs and all that stuff, is your cell phone. And the reason they ask for that is because it tells them a lot about you. A lot of people are so addicted to their cell phone, they're messing with it when they're driving. Uh, there's a whole bunch of stuff that it can cause a problem. Okay. Now, the other part is, let's say she wasn't messing when she's driving, but she's on that cell phone for 2 to 3 hours in bunk. She hits somebody, and they're going to ask for the cell phone. Once they have her number, they're going to pull the records. If that cell phone was actively being used and she was on there in a phone conversation or texting, the accident, regardless if they hit her, will be automatically her fault because they will say she was driving without enough rest. She did not meet the mandatory minimum DOT amount of 8 hours worth of sleep in the sleeper berth. This came from the head of uh, of student services, as well as my conversation with one of the safety people. So the rule that I have about using your while I didn't know this was that specific, the rule that I have about using your cell phone in sleeper berth is, hey Linda, is actually a good rule. And the other stuff is just logical, being not using it while you're driving. If you are caught using your cell phone while you're driving, those tickets are upwards of 2,000 in a semi, of upward of the $2,000 range. So I'm not asking her for much. And what you guys have to understand, I'm telling her don't use your phone while you're driving. You can use it on your breaks. You can use it on her downtime at the customer. Downtime in a reefer, I just sat at a customer for 45 minutes for him to tell me finally come drop the trailer and go get another one. 45 minutes, you can be on the phone talking to 5 million people. There's times when we have to get live loaded, and in a reefer, that could be 3, 4, 5 hours. Hell, it could be a 10-hour break. So for you to think that it's okay for me not to say anything about her cell phone usage, I'm going to kindly disagree. A, it's some DOT policies and how we handle this vehicle. And B, we're seeing way too many drivers on their cell phone up to their ear, not even using a wireless Bluetooth. And this is what I tell you, even if you can't afford this, you can afford the one that plugs in and put it in one ear. We go in here and we fuel all the time. We get points for fueling. Get your points together and buy a wireless Bluetooth. Cost is anywhere from $100. Well, some you can get even cheaper than that. That will block out this truck noise. Like right now, I'm on this Bluetooth talking to y'all through this. Excuse me, y'all, allergies. And I'm talking to you through this, and y'all aren't picking much of the truck noise up. One of the reasons I do it with this now, because I realize it's better in the video. You don't pick up all the vibrations of the truck and all that other stuff. We have to make some different choices. That's all I can tell you. And to me, are you really serious about driving a truck? You know, me and Nikki talks about it. And Nikki's like, "Are you kidding me?" No, 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 no. I'm not kidding you. This lady, she pretty much, um, pretty much told me that she didn't want to work with. I'm sitting up here bending and flexing on her smoking, which is one thing I absolutely hate. And then the thing that breaks everything is her telling me she couldn't work with me telling her she could only be on the phone an hour in the bunk. I don't want you driving me tired. Driving me tired will drive me off a mountain. Driving tired can kill both of us because you on the phone all night talking to whoever. And I got responsibilities. Well, you before you leave your house, if you're in this industry, you need to have those responsibilities in check. As a and Bill, I love the saying Bill has. And he talks about it on a more intimate level. If you're worried about your pee at home, then keep your butt at home because there's some dangerous shiznit out here. But in reality, when you look at that statement, it's much bigger. If your focus is on a lot of drama at your house, you cannot do this job. Because right now, when we get behind this wheel, we are already dealing with. I'm not only driving this truck, I'm driving the people's cars in front of me. I'm guesstimating. Hey D, I'm guesstimating um, what they're going to do. Whether they're going to jump in front of this truck, so I may need to slow down, make an evasive maneuver. I'm driving everything around me. I have to drive the other big rigs around me, whether I'm going to have some dumbass who's going to ride my ass and I got to slow down or not. Whether I come up on traffic and have to hit the hazards because somebody's riding on me so close that they may hit me if I hit them brakes too soon because we got to slow down because all of a sudden the traffic has come to a dead halt. there's a lot going on. I'm also reading signage. I went through a hellish detour last night. 540 was closed down coming in here to where I'm trying to get to in Arkansas. So I had to kind of finagle some roundabout way. The detour sign stopped. They didn't tell us how we were detouring back to the freeway. I ended up having to go over some dam to get back to the 40. It was massive drama. But if I'm on my cell phone and I'm gonna miss all of that, and that's why sometimes I'll talk to people and I'll be on there, and if I'm just going straight away, open, sometimes I'll have the headset on talk middle. But when I start having where I'm having a lot of interchanges, I'm gonna have to exit here. This what I did this morning to Danielle. Girl, I gotta go. Something I got a bunch of interchanges coming up here, and my spot is coming up. I'm off the phone. The radio gets turned down because now I need to pay attention because I'm getting ready to go into regular street traffic. I have to exit at a certain area. There's a lot more going on. So I don't know, this guy in the United, he honked at this other guy and started pointing at something, but he's sitting here like he's parked. Oh, he's leaving. Okay. He's trying to leave. Got you. He sat there forever, so I have no idea. Some truckers are just massive assholes. But he had been sitting there for like freaking ever. So I have no idea. It was very weird. Um, but yeah, so I have I've come to the conclusion that truckers are weird. How can I put this? People are going to want to do what they want to do. And if they're coming on this truck, I'm going to have my rules. And like truck trainer Bill, the one who trained me, the white guy who trained me, if they accidentally gave him a student that had smoke, she smelled smoke on him, he turned right back around to the terminal and dropped him right back off and told him, nope, I don't take smokers. He had hard and fast rules about what he tolerated and what he didn't. He was meticulous down to. I mean, the guy had major OCD. His truck was so you could eat out that truck. It was so clean, um, which I liked about him. His truck was just very, very clean. Um, and I learned some good tips from him. But this young lady, and I was like, okay, but that wasn't meant to happen. There were some things I was picking up too, because I felt that kind of pushback from her. And I believed that she was going to be maybe a little bit pushback when it wasn't her way. The thing is that when you're in training, you have to be willing to be a sponge, and you have to be willing to try to respect. I don't mean he was never an asshole. Like I told her, I'm not gonna be screaming at you. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I have set rules for set reasons. I gave her examples. I told her about the gentleman going down the freeway playing video poker with his girl and weaving on the freeway. The one that was up all night and they be arguing, and it was just a lot of drama. And a lot of it, he'd be tired because he'd been up all night playing video poker with her. I'm good. I'm good. So I have set rules for a reason. It's almost like I told her, it's like Walmart. We can't go to certain Walmarts anymore. Why can't we go to those Walmarts now? Because I'm gonna turn this off. We can't go to the Walmarts now because we had other truckers leaving piss bottles and all the other stuff out there. Somebody messed it up for somebody else. So where she might be more responsible and she might not use her phone, I can't trust that. Like I told, I asked for permission and was what late 40s, early 50s when I was late 40s on Trainer Bill's truck. Trainer, not Trucker Bill. And Trainer Bill, I asked permission like, "Hey, God, you mind if I use my phone to make a doctor's appointment?" A, because I respected him, and B, I wanted to show him I wasn't using my phone when it was learning time. It was learning time. When it was working time, it was working time. I wasn't on that phone. I was coming back in the industry and I needed a refresher. You can't get the focus and the refreshing you need if you're doing shenanigans. You just can't. And so, you know, I understand that some people are addicted to your phone. If that's the case, then may not be for you. And because you really need to put the phone down. It's a detriment out here. It really is. So yeah, so to Edie, I don't necessarily agree. Let me read your comments, guys, and then I'm gonna take my black butt to bed and see if there's any questions on here. Hold on. Ooh, going back all the way back. Okay. Okay. I saw Mandisa, Trucker Felicia, African Violet, Rochelle. My JC Gaming, how you doing, my king? Magical Girl, we already talked. We got rid of the Nutty Box. Let's see here, Mandisa. Wow. Let's see here. Bowman, I saw Danielle come in. We got rid of Mr. Crazy William. We hopefully blocked him. Magical Girl. My ninja came back like it's no one business. You're funny. Then Nikki said good morning. You got the notification. Jennifer, peace and love. Thank you, Jennifer. Micheline, always good morning. Smooth Trucking, good morning. I said that. B. Griffith, I said good morning. Liz, say good morning. Medusa, I didn't see you come in. How you doing, baby? I'll see you, Michelle. These here, I already said good morning. These said I tried to sneak a live in and you made it in. That's funny. Liz, yes, we did. We talked about the recording. Jennifer gave me 100. Thank you. Let's see here. Hard left with the passenger door. That is funny as hell, thieves. That's funny. Leisha, good morning. CB Griffith, we got you. It was a little thieves. It was, I'm gonna say scary. I don't know. I can't explain it. I was very calm. If you heard the recording, Nikki can tell you because I had her preview it for me. I was very calm. Is again, I kind of had again. It's really because of who I come from. Because of my mother. Let's see here, and I don't know how to handle people who do this crap. It's an intimidation move. Yep. Yep, he wanted. Well, I don't know if Smooth. I don't think it was really blame. I think he really was looking for a fight, and it would justify him. He was so pissed off about the fact he got reported for the sugar. Um, and the fact he was eating sugar behind the wheel and a diabetic, so it's making him tired. That I believe that was his way of trying to get back at me, and in his intimidation. Oh, that was the other thing. He said, well, after we get run with this road, would I just sign off on him to release him so he could get his own truck? And I was like, how do I? He said, well, some of my boys said that their trainers released them because they could drive. You only drove for 2.5 2 hours every day, and you can't back real good right now because you're oversteering. We had a dock at a farm with all the space. He could not put that in a straight back into the dock. He put it at a diagonal and only had one of the bumpers touching the thing. And me and the lady told him exactly how to do it, and he never did. I had to get in there finally after 30 minutes of him trying to back it and put it in the hole. It took me 2 minutes. Chess ETC, what's up? True Smooth, and that's it. Really was. I think that's really. I don't can't explain my calmness. I was just calm about it. It wasn't. I knew that I need to get him out the truck because I think what I felt that things would get worse. And I knew that if they pushed any envelope, then we were going to have to call the authorities based on his behavior because I didn't know at that point would he become violent. I don't know. Like I said, I was dealing with definitely three different people, and I totally agree he needs counseling. Jesse said, "My happy place is to make more money. Forget some food. Give me more money. You funny." Kevin, what's up? Oh, Chessie TC, explain what you mean and do it yourself as a trainer. Explain what that means. Okay, I'll look at a bibliophile. She said, "Lord, not chitlins," and I know the history of chitlins too. A lot of people don't know the history of chitlins, and I know it's probably not the thing we should eat based on the history. But I have to say, it's a testament to Black people and Latino people that we can make chitlins and all that stuff taste good, especially knowing what they are. Some of the truck stops are. I mean, like I got a Subway sandwich. I had the I was hungry last night on the way in, and I stopped. And one of my favorite is the Subway seafood sandwich. I had that. That was actually pretty good. And I like if it's real good vegetables on there, it's crunchy and fresh. Yeah, Linda, I don't want to pay rent anymore. I want to buy me some land like Danielle did. I'm buy me land and put my shimmy shack on it. I'm gonna get me. I want to have a either I'll do a manufactured home, or I'm gonna have a built tiny home, or I'm gonna come with a cabin kit. I really like this cabin kit. It's about 14 grand, and you put the cabin kit, and then you just have somebody come in and build the walls. And I think they put you can get the insulation through them. In my own way, Chess CTC, it was a checkmate. Um, Yeah, cause he had no clue what he was getting off the truck. He thought he's like, "Oh, he thought he was heading out." He did. Matter of fact, he didn't get the bed off the truck. I had to put he when they finally brought him to the truck, I think he was dazed because he didn't know. He had no clue that I had requested him off that truck. Linda, I don't know, and I don't know if they're gonna test him for that. That was a question that Bill, that was the first thing Trucker Bill thought. I was leaning more towards the diabetes because you can crash that crash that he had, but it could be drugs. I don't know. And Bill said, "Is he doing drugs on your truck?" I said, I didn't search for his stuff. Right, D. You don't be on the phone. You can't focus. And me and Nikki talked about that. That's why I love my Nikki. Nikki reminds me of a young me. But Nikki is very disciplined like I am because you cannot focus and learn. Like when I first started trucking, I didn't even listen to the radio. I was so focused on the road and getting acclimated to the truck, trying to listen to music. Now I can, but back then no. Right, and it's not the saying that you can't talk to him about stuff. This magical girl, when she says she doesn't tell to her ninja, what's going on at the house if something's happening, because if they're worried about it, they don't tend to be able to be focused because they're worried about stuff at home. And if you're worried about stuff at home, then you're more apt to make mistakes out here. So you got to have stuff at home handled when you leave. That's why, and I understand this young lady may have responsibilities, but you need to have all that in place, handled with somebody before you leave. Oh, you retired from the IRS, Linda. All right, we might need to talk. I'm owe y'all for some what was that? I had 401k when I used it. Oh, Micheline, she said I ain't worried what people. Just is the most work I've done my whole life driving a truck. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, it's these. Check out the Arch Cabin Kit. It's two guys who started that. I think one is in New Mexico, one is in Texas. And that's what I'm looking at, Arch Cabin. This looks like the old Quonset huts, but if you go on, they've done some excellent interiors with that. It stands up to high winds. So it's good for places like, Texas, Wyoming. So that's cool. Edie, I was talking about your comment. In a way that don't okay. Oh no, I didn't take any kind of offense to your comment. I get how you can see, hey, she's a grown woman, so she could use her phone. But when you're with this truck, you can't. It's a different ball game, and the fact that she's in training, she only had 100 hours to do. That's a week and a half, 2 weeks at the most. And you mean to tell me you can't make arrangements if you've left your children, if you have children, I didn't know if she has kids or not, but if you left your children in the care of family members, then that you should be leaving them with a family member yeah, the arch cabin kit thieves, that is correct. It's and that's what you can look it up by them, and I think that's the name of the company. I'll see if I can find a link and put it below, but there's Dirt Patch Heaven is I think her name. She did a video with the lady where they actually toured the arch cabin kits, and they had, like, I guess it was a couple of friends. They brought property all together, all retirees, and they all bought arch cabin kits, different sizes. And that's where I was first introduced to the arch cabin kit. And I know that the prices range. I mean, the high end price was like 14 grand for like their biggest arch cabin kit, and it will be a second story with a loft. But you don't have to use the loft for your room. You could do a room downstairs. That's what I would do. I'd do the loft as a guest rooms up there. I would throw probably a partition in there, do two guest rooms, and probably a shower and a toilet sink, and that would be the guest area up there, and that's what I would do. And then they have the stairs, and then under the stairs, I would probably put I'd like to set a bookshelf where I could store books. But yeah, yeah. Look at I think her name is Dirt Patch Heaven. She started out because her and her family, I think they're out of Arizona, and they were looking for to do a tiny home. And she's got a couple kids, so she's looking at all sorts of alternatives. And I think they are what else do you call them? You know, when you have your own land, homesteaders. And so, but she was looking at different things, and that was one that she interviewed and found out about and went to go see. So they traveled around looking at different ideas as to what they themselves were going to try to implement. And that's how her YouTube channel started. And I found out about it when I was researching tiny homes and homesteading because that's something I'm interested in. Right. And if you guys have the obviously where you're at must have the internal camera. I don't want shit to do with the internal camera. But obviously where you're at has the internal camera. Seeing if this is Micheline. I got a company coming in here that she works for, but it's not her. Or Monet. I don't think that's Monet. Oh, that's right. I don't think she drives up in this area. Well, no, I'm off to 40, so she might. That might be her. I can't remember what color her damn truck was. I got my glasses on right now. Let me put my glasses on. Hold on, y'all. No, that ain't her. That's somebody else. I don't think that's her. Oh no, she's a little heavier. That's not her at all. That's some other chick. It's the same company she works for though. So I was looking to see. Um, but yeah, so I got to get off here and get me some sleep, y'all. But um, chess, chess. Is it chess? Am I not saying it right? Chess. Is it ETC? I say ETC or Edic. You can say, or what do you say? Am I pronouncing your name wrong? So chess. Is it not chess? My best friend asked me about the probation thing with trucking. I think what it is they're trying to see if he's going to get ship shape or not, and if not, then if he's going to hang himself more. Um, Trucking, I've never really, except for the small trucking company in Lubbock with the 90, they talked about the 60 and 90-day thing, and that's what I told them. I said, I give y'all 90 days, you can give me 90 days. I'm looking at them the same way. Um, to me, I think the 90-day rule is good for both people, but most trucking companies, at least for the driver side, only company I've ever had mention it was a little small Oklahoma or small Texas company. Chesit. Oh, but you got the Chesit. Okay, you got the chess and ETC separated though. You mess with me. So I'm okay, but I will say Chesit. But I didn't know you have the ETC separated instead of put together. D, what's up? Am I breaking up for everybody else? Hello, hello. Nobody else has said anything here, D. Everybody else can hear me okay because I got you on Bluetooth, right? Everybody else hear me okay, or was there an issue? Okay. So D is probably your phone. I would say reboot it or your connection. if you're using Wi-Fi. I use this Bluetooth because it blocks out the truck sound, and most people can hear me better with the Bluetooth. That's why I keep it on because I found out it works really good to use a Bluetooth with the phone. With this phone. North Carolina's pretty. I don't think I want to live there though. Um, I really and I know I'm not gonna buy up in the area, but I really like the Oregon and the I like Oregon and Washington State, but they're very expensive. I know I'm gonna probably do something in the middle of the country, possibly. I like the hill country of Texas. That's usually up north of San Antonio. Um, I'm having an issue with southern areas because there is a undercurrent of thought process among certain folks that isn't good, and I don't know that based on me being a West Coast chick that would work for me. So the further I go into the South, it's like you gotta kind of tone. I gotta tone me down because somebody gonna say the wrong thing, and then you get toned up, and then I'll be like this genius. So I'm thinking, like I said, I think in Texas. My home state of Arizona, aspects of it I miss, but there's really not much there for me. I have some friends there, but I can go anywhere. And the southern area, yeah, I'm a little concerned. Now, another area I like is what like the Virginias. Like I like the area of the West Virginias, but I also do like Tennessee. Where my aunt's at Tennessee. Tennessee is gorgeous. Like I enjoyed the company that this company, the parent company, is in Chattanooga. It's Chattanooga, and I thoroughly enjoyed Chattanooga. It was just absolutely gorgeous. And when I went down into the main city, I liked it. It has a city, it has a southern, it has kind of a good mix, and I thought that was really nice. So the Tennessee area is a possibility. Um, I did like that a lot. That was one I did like. So I'm looking at different states where you can just get land. Right now, though, Texas is the one I see with the cheapest land. Everybody can hear me. Okay, good. Jennifer says she can hear me too. So that's kind of what I'm trying to say. I will, magical girl. I'll do that. You've been sitting at the shipper since 4 a.m. Well, these like in Arizona, we really never got tornadoes. We got what they call wind bursts, and we just had what we call monsoons, which is just really bad dust storms and rain. But now with the global warming, the weather is crazy everywhere. Okay. I will enjoy the weekend. Actually, I got a load taking me all the way to Laredo, which I'm happy about. I haven't been to Laredo in a long time. Matter of fact, I'm hoping I can get to go to y'all. It's about food again. Hoping I can get to go to HEB. Plus, in Laredo, they have something called it's called Serrano ham, and I know it's meat, but it is like it's butter. I don't know what they do to that meat and how they store it, make it, whatever. But when you it's get it really thin, and it's amazing. It almost melts when did it. And there was some Latino guys that introduced me to it years ago when I was working for Conway, and I would go there and get some cheese and that, and it was just an amazing, and some fruit, and just have a good old time in here. Like I was having a little gourmet thing. The only thing missing was wine, but I can't do wine on the truck. Yes, Liz, it is an amazing ham. It's like prosciutto on crack. It's amazing. So but anyway, y'all, I have got to get some sleep. Oh, Colorado's gorgeous. I love Colorado. Colorado, Portland, Oregon, Washington State. That drive is amazing. Anyway, battery's getting ready to go too. Guys, two and two, be blessed. I'm gonna get in here and get some sleep, and I think I might take a shower. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna take a shower, but I think I might. Out of the bathroom, so I might as well just if I have to go in there, I might as well take a shower. Anyway, peace. Yes, Spanish ham is good.